City School is leading the charge to overhaul Australia's education timetable, officially introducing a later start for students once a week.
The King's School say they've adopted the change to improve regulation, time management and wellbeing. For more, we're joined by sleep expert Olivia Arezolo and Real Schools founder Adam Voigt. Good morning to you both. Thanks for joining us. Olivia, I want to start with you. How much of a difference could an extra 50 minutes of sleep make in the morning to a school-age kid?
Okay, this could be phenomenal in terms of academic performance, safety. There was a study in the US that found similar measures, delaying school start times, improved academic performance. It increased the likelihood of a teen getting sufficient sleep by 40%, and it decreased teen car accidents by 70%.
Wow, okay, so you are obviously very on board with this, Olivia. Now they're only doing it once a week though.
Yes.
Would you like to see more schools doing this?
Absolutely, yes. Whether it's for safety, well-being, academic performance, there is consistent evidence to show that lack of sleep impairs all of these domains. And when it comes to academics, why are we sending our kids to school so they can perform? In terms of the research, when we lack sleep, we can see a 40% decline in our ability to retain new information.
Wow.
We are twice as likely to see lower school performance, and we see impairments in the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for decision-making and judgment.
I was a big dismisser of this when I first saw the topic, but there are some incredible statistics behind the benefits of it. Adam, good morning to you. It's called asynchronous learning. I think I've said that correctly. Can you explain what that actually means to us here and those at home?
Yeah, so asynchronous learning is pretty much saying that we've got a lesson that's kind of on, but there's no teacher and you're not in school. It's just kind of in school time, but you're at home. And so while I share Olivia's optimism around sleep and its connection to well-being, and the data and the evidence on this is really strong, the correlation between this evidence and improved student learning outcomes is actually a bit patchy. It's a bit mixed when you look at the meta-analysis of it. That's possibly connected to the fact that we're seeing also a really strong body of evidence at the moment that the increasing amount of screen time that young people are accessing as a lever for education is decreasing educational standards in the schools where there's a really high proliferation of that screen time. So we've just got to be honest here about what these kids will be doing when they are in an asynchronous environment, and it's either probably sleeping in, which connection to well-being could have potentially strong benefits for student learning, but also they're probably also on screens, which may counteract any benefit that's possible.
Now, Adam, not all parents are happy about this. I reckon I can probably guess why, but I want to hear it from you. Why do you think there's been some pushback?
So I think the fact that, first of all, when we start with the fact this is an experiment being run by the King's School, and I'm all for the experiments. We've got to find out how these new ideas can work, and schools field testing them is a great way to do it. But these kids are already buffered by every possible socio-educational advantage you could possibly think of. So how does this transfer to your regular Australian family, where the school's extracurricular activities, the kids' extracurricular activities are not connected to the school, the local footy team, the ability to have the kids on reliable internet and devices at home, parents who can actually afford to be able to adjust their workday or arrange transport. So what we've got to do here is kind of look at this in a much bigger context than the way that Kings are running it, and then we might be able to get some evidence about whether we can kind of take this to some sort of scale.
I'd like to get my kids off to school at 6:30 in the morning and out of my hair as quickly as possible. So I understand some of the parent pushback. Olivia, you're a fan. You've spoken about some of the data that shows there are benefits attached to this. At the moment, we're just looking at one example, the King's School. How would you encourage other schools to adopt something like this?
Yeah, I think definitely having a trial phase is the best way to go about it. I don't think there's any one-size-fits-all for, the school system, but definitely having a trial phase, whether that's one day or multiple days, and seeing the impact, having, qualitative and qualitative data from, that trial phase, and then assessing, was there improvements in sleep, academic, mental health, driving accidents, and then using that as a guide, what should we do next?
And just in your eyes, and quickly, Olivia, how many hours should a teenage student be getting every night?
So it's actually much higher than we realise. 9 to 11 hours is recommended for teens because they're in a growth phase. They actually need more sleep.
I think get them to bed earlier and off to school earlier. That would work perfectly for me as a parent.
So seems to be the easy solution, right? Just get to bed earlier and get them off screens earlier, because I do agree screen time is such a big factor. The thing is that teens have what's called a delayed circadian phase. Now, this happens to all mammals going through puberty, in that we are biologically hardwired to go to bed at midnight. That is our wiring.
Wow.
And then, as a result of waking up at our regular time, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock to get to school, they're chronically sleep deprived, especially considering that they need 9 to 11 hours.
So they need a lot of sleep, but parents also need really flexible working conditions as well to be able to accommodate it. It's tricky, but like you've both said, it's important that we do experiment and try and find something that works.
Exactly right.
Thanks for your time this morning.